COVID-19 has changed how we show up and show out with our family. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to talking smack with a side of mac and cheese. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts. As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Should I get it?
Is it safe?
Should I wait?
It's smart to question. Now, get the facts at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
I don't think we're free in this country. For 100 years, you saw Black people menaced and targeted and lynched and beaten and brutalized. I think we're burdened by this history. You are obligated to do something to address that, or you become part of the problem. More people have to be willing to do that uncomfortable, inconvenient thing that justice requires for things to get better. We don't have to fear fairness. We don't have to fear equality. We don't have to fear doing the right thing. Truth can inspire change. Learn more at EJI.org.
I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
It's time for a talk. If you're 45 or older, you need to get yourself screened for colon cancer. This disease can be very treatable when caught early, so the sooner you know what's up with your health, the better. The good news is that there's options for getting screened that are easier than you think. Get informed. Hey, we're all busy and we think, when would we fit it in? Well, make the time. It just might mean more time with your family down the road. If you're a man or a woman, 45 or older, I'm talking to you. I've lost good friends, young friends, to colon cancer. Don't make the mistake of waiting until you have symptoms or think that you have no risk because it doesn't run in your family. Everybody needs to be screened. So, take control. Get screened for colon cancer, 45 or older. Learn how. standuptocancer.org/colon cancer.
America, land of the free. It's at the core of who we are. Freedom. The freedom to live without fear, to drive through all 50 states, to sleep safely in our own beds, the freedom to jog where we please, to watch birds in the park, to wear a hoodie, the freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because no matter your religion, gender, disability, age, race, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
is shining, shining, nice and bright, bright. The birds are chirping, chirping, and I'm ready to fly. Time to get ready, ready for another day. No one can stop us. Oh, we gon' learn to play. Oh, every day we learn and play. We do our best, so we'll be great. Oh, 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 oh. You do your best, best, and I do mine, mine. So let's get ready, cause it's about that time. Good morning, morning, you. Good morning, how do you do? Good morning, time to be great. Good morning, time to wake. Good morning, your best is right. Good morning, so start today. Good morning, open your eyes. Good morning, reach for the sky. Good morning, 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 morning to you. Good morning, 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 how do you do? Good morning, 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 morning to you. Good morning, 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 how do you do? Good morning. You see me on my grind. Woo, stars got to shine. I'm a supernova. Yeah, you see me taking over. Yeah, I'm on the move. I got a way to shine too. So let me hear you say, every day we gon' learn and play.
Hey y'all, hey, good morning. Today is a glorious day. It's Wednesday, April 21st. And it's snowing in Detroit, but around the nation, I think you heard tears of joy, applause, just a lot of people extremely happy that number one, we won a battle. We're still fighting the war, but we definitely won a battle. And number two, that we just didn't tear the place up. I know that's me. I feel like I'm happy that things turned out the way that they did. And what I'm referring to is the Derek Chauvin trial. He was found guilty on all 3 counts, and so I think that was definitely a sigh of relief that was felt around the country. And I just think it was definitely history that was made, and it just goes to show that we're not putting up with it anymore. The jurors deliberated not even for a full 24 hours, and they came back, and everyone was speculating that it was a good thing that they deliberated in such a short amount of time. They said it was a sign for the prosecution. It was a good sign for the prosecution, and lo and behold, it definitely was, because they came back guilty, guilty, guilty. I'm not gonna lie, I think I shed a couple tears. It wasn't a lot, but the emotions that I felt, it was just like, y'all got this one right. Jurors, y'all got this one right. Like, there was no need to even drag this out for 4 weeks. There was no need at all to drag this out for 4 weeks. Y'all got it right. The nation is ecstatic. The world is ecstatic. And that's a win for us. Like I said, it's a battle win. It's not a war win. But we're going to keep moving and marching on. So, how y'all feeling today? Let me go to Facebook and check in. I know that the First King James is on in the virtual building. I wanted to get his initial thoughts on the guilty verdict. He's loud. I wonder if he know that we can hear his TV. But I know he has a lot to say about Derek Chauvin being found guilty. I'm happy. I definitely shed a tear or two. What's up, First King James? How you feeling
What's
today?
happening?
What's
What's
happening?
happening? I'm doing pretty good.
What?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, you doing pretty good this morning? We vibrating high today. How you feeling?
Yeah, vibrating high colors too.
Oh, okay, Carlos. You better come through, Carlos. What's good? How you feeling? What are your initial thoughts on um, Derek Chauvin being found guilty.
Yeah, well, as I look at the TV, I mean, it's on every channel still, even on ESPN, even on Fox Sports. I mean, this was not justice. This was just a case of accountability. Justice is a case of people being treated equally under the law. So I am happy that he was found guilty. I thought it was sad. I echo the sentiments of Dwayne Wade, a legendary basketball player, LeBron James' best friend. And he said that when he heard that the verdict had come down, he said he got clammy hands. His hands started shaking. I started sweating. He got a knot in his stomach. And he said it shouldn't have to be that way for an overwhelming case. I mean, it was overwhelming. So the evidence was overwhelming against him. So the fact that he felt that way, he said he's sad. So I'm happy that he was found guilty, and it was the right. It was right. It was the right. It was the right verdict. How do you feel?
It was definitely emotional, right? I don't know. I wanted my kids to really be in the moment, but they're kids, and I'm like, this is historical. This is something that is going to define your generation for years. And they was just like, yeah, Ma, okay. Can we go back upstairs? But it was emotional. I sat there by myself and I watched it because the kids just was really disinterested. And it wasn't a time for me to make them sit and, feel it because I was so emotional. So I was just like, okay, fine. But I had a flood of emotions. Right before, very, very anxious. I sat there as soon as they announced that they had reached a verdict. I went and sat in front of the TV. Like I had my laptop on my lap or whatever, but I couldn't work. I was anxious. And so then they announced that it was going to be an hour until they make at least an hour until they make the announcement what the verdict was. And as soon as I said, well, let me just go back in my office and just kind of do some more work. As soon as I did that, they was like, the verdict is in. So I ran back to the TV and I was sitting there by myself, and it was just like, I was angry. I was anxious. When they read that first one, I was still calm because I'm like, that's only one of three. We got two more to go. When they read the second one, I'm like, come on through the home stretch, like jury, y'all please just give us this win. And then when it came down to the third one, a tear fell. I definitely shed some tears. I definitely sighed, a deep sigh of relief. Um, and I was okay with it. I still had all of these pent up. So.
I see. Yeah, I just thought. It was a good day. I mean, it could be a turning point. There's always, when things change in America, there's always a flashpoint. There's always something that changes the paradigm. So, we have a video from George Floyd's brother on his reaction about the verdict. A lot of his family members did take time to speak. So if we can go ahead and roll that and find out what his brother felt about it. Because it was definitely an emotional moment. It was a powerful, historic moment that we witnessed because it was definitely.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, let's go to the crowd reaction first, and then see what his brother had to say. I was camped out on Attorney Crump's page, but go ahead.
I want to show our viewers here in the United States and around the world the reaction of some of the crowd as they heard about the verdicts. Listen to this.
Second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk.
Wow. Guilty on all charges. Wow.
Let's celebrate.
Today.
It was a bit of relief. I actually paced back and forth before I even went into the courtroom. I have faith. I believe in God. So I was optimistic, and I kept saying, we will get justice. We will get it. And just sitting in there, just listening to those words, guilty and guilty and guilty on all counts, that was a moment that I will never be able to relive. I will always have it inside of me. It's just being able to know that it's justice for African American people, just people of color, period, in this world. This is monumental. This is historic. This is a pivotal moment in history. And all I can think about is Emmett Till. I think about Sandra Bland. I think about Miss Carr with Eric Garner. It's so many people. We have new people being killed. Dante Wright. I think about Jacob Blake. I think about Philando Castile. All of these people, they're all dead. You got people that live near me. Pamela Turner, she's dead. And we all need justice. We're all fighting for one reason, and it's justice for all. And I think today has been an occasion where people can celebrate. But tomorrow, it's back to business, because we have to stay steps ahead of everything, and we'll keep pushing, and we'll keep pushing. And like Reverend Al say, we'll keep fighting.
You have been fighting.
Yeah, that was powerful. That was powerful. I don't think we could hear you, Portia.
Sorry about that. Yes, very emotional, very powerful. With every name that he said, chills, just every single name. It just, the chills kept coming. Because it's real,
Yeah.
It's real. Sandra Bland, Dante Wright, Tamir Rice, just all of them. All of them.
Yeah, and the fact that he hearkened up, he really highlighted something that I was focusing on, the fact that we have to remain vigilant. We have to remain vigilant and stay in the streets and stay, well, metaphorically in the streets. But we have to remain vigilant and working, because every victory, evil is trying to eradicate it, reverse it. Take a look at Georgia. In Georgia, it turned completely blue. And now they passed draconian laws, just ridiculous voting laws, in order to ensure that it goes back red at the next voting cycle. So just because we won, right, just because we won one victory, one case, or we got the verdict that we wanted in one case, that just means that we have to fight harder to keep it, because of the fact that the other side is always working to try to reverse it. And Georgia is the perfect example. It's the quintessential example of why we need to remain awake and active. That's what I mean by being in the streets.
Yeah. I want to go to Facebook. Hey, y'all. Hey, on Facebook. Hey, Jeffrey Phillip Hicks. Happy Wednesday to you. Iris Baker, Jean Bracy Worthy. Good morning, ladies. Iris Lewis is watching as well. Good morning, Iris. Jean
Hey, Iris.
said, hey, Iris. Jean said that she had doubts about the jury doing the right thing. She said, America is giving me trust issues. I still have trust issues. You have to show me more. I need to see more guilty verdicts. I would have to say that I agree, Jane. I was I was I was up in front of the TV, like real close. Like y'all better do the right thing. Let's just do the right thing. Iris Baker said, I am happy about the guilty verdict, but it's not over until the judge does the right thing in sentencing him as well. That part, Iris. And then, hey, Carrie. Hey, girlfriend. Carrie used to come on and give us yoga in the morning. She says, good morning, Rolling Out family. Good morning, girl. Hey, girl, hey.
What's up, Carrie? We miss you. You know what I'm saying? You need to come back to the fold. What's going on?
We
Where you been?
some
Where you at?
breathing today.
I mean,
Right,
dang.
we need some breathing today.
Yeah. We could have used some breathing yesterday because during the verdict, you know what I'm saying, I almost stopped breathing. I was like Dwayne Wade. I was sweaty. I was nervous. I was anxious. We could have used some breathing yesterday, Carrie. So you need to come back into the fold. I mean, for real.
And then yesterday, you know, I just wanted to get out. Like, I wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to do something. I did my walk early. I did my 5 miles early. And while I was walking, it started snowing, and it didn't stop. Like
Snowing?
outside of what? I'm gonna send producer TJ a picture of my backyard, completely covered in snow. So I couldn't even go nowhere afterwards. Like I wanted to just kind
That's a
of
good
let out
excuse.
some energy. What? Oh no, I did my 5 miles early, boo. I did. Listen, I got a video of that too. I make sure I did my 5 miles early, but I wanted to get out again. I wanted to do something again, and Michigan is lightweight closed, so I couldn't go nowhere. I just kind of stayed home. Yeah, Chicago, Detroit, and Minneapolis had snow. It was a lot of snow. It was just dumb snow. It started snowing when I was walking. I'm like, is this snow? So crazy.
And that's why I took my talents to the ATL from the Buckeye State, because I'm so sick of having snow in April, late April. I mean, it's April 20th. I got tired of that. No, I'm a Southern boy now. No.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
just sent a picture to TJ. Hopefully he can bring it up. But no, that's snow. Like that's the that's out my bedroom window. That's snow. April 21st. Snow.
Well, yeah, TJ. Way to be petty. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get on you when you mispronounced Chauvin yesterday. But anyway. Yeah, it's April 21st. Thank you for tuning into the Rolling Out AM Wake Up Call. Thank you for all you on Facebook.
You about to get canceled, y'all. Y'all can't see the chat that's going on over here.
I know that's
TJ
right.
about to cut them off.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I thought yesterday was a watershed moment, and I think that we can use that moment to pivot in another direction. And I just think that we should not. We should celebrate and be happy, just like we did during the presidential election when it was finally decided in December 2020. And then when we survived January 6th, storming of the Capitol by those thugs and terrorists, I think that we should celebrate, but then remain vigilant. This is just like work. Just like when you clock in at work and you cannot miss work, we cannot miss the work that is required of us in the streets of America, in the back rooms of America, in the political office, at the voting booth of America. I think that we just have to remain vigilant, and that definitely means in terms of justice, because look at your backyard. What is that? What is that? What is that? I ain't seen that in 5 years. I don't even know what that is anymore. I ain't seen that in 5 years in Atlanta.
You see that little tree in the middle? It's green grass underneath that. Y'all see that? The little green grass underneath all that white snow? Yeah, it's snow.
And not only that, Portia, even when I go, this is so bad. Even when I go home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, which I do every year except during the COVID, it's not snowing. It's not snowing in Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's snowing in April. In April. Come on, Iris. I mean, D.
They
all
try
y'all.
not
I mean,
to make
come on
me
now.
be great, y'all. Cause I'm a walk today. I'm a walk in the snow. I don't give a damn. I'm getting my 5 miles in. Rain, sleet, or snow. I finally understand that. Rain, sleet, or snow. It's gonna get done. It's gonna get done.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Kathleen said, as Prince said, sometimes it snows in April. Girl. And then she came back and she said, justice, yes. Iris Baker said, for some reason, I was not nervous about the verdict. There was no way the jury was going to let him get away with killing George Floyd. That video was enough to convict him alone. Thanks to Darnella Frazier for recording the video. Oh, I'm hoping she okay. I hope her prayer warriors are around her, because that's a lot on your shoulders as a young adult. Is she 17? How old is she?
She's 18 now, but
18.
yes, Miss Frazier, she's an American hero. I mean, she stepped into a moment, and being a hero is just an ordinary person who makes an extraordinary decision at a critical time, at a critical juncture. And she stepped into that moment, and she did not back away. So God bless her. You know what I'm saying? I know that I've been trying to get in touch with her yesterday, but she, her answer machine was flooded, because I definitely wanted to talk to her and get her sentiments about what took place. You know what I'm saying? It was just like it went straight to voicemail every time. But God bless Miss Frazier on, just standing there and doing what was right. Because without that critical piece of information, there is no way, and I do mean no way, that this cop gets convicted. It just would have been thrown into the trash heap in terms of what happened. Oh, another Negro dead, another black man dead, and some, it's been circulated on Twitter about the different the different accounts. The police account that first came out, and then the video of what took place and what actually happened, and it was a lie. It was two totally different accounts of what took place, and without that video, we would have, everybody, including even black people, would have definitely gone with the police account. We would have accepted it without, without questioning it. Oh, welcome to the Rolling on AM Wake Up Call. What's up?
Hello, happy Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, happy Wednesday. Happy Winning Wednesday.
Winning Wednesday. Yeah. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're winning. So how do you feel? How do you feel about yesterday?
I wore yellow because of positive energy and joy that we definitely are feeling here in the Twin Cities. It's a big relief. It's just the start, though, that was just the start of accountability. So justice was served yesterday, but we have a lot of work to do. So, but we were in the streets, jumping up and down, and really excited that we got to see yesterday, and that it didn't go the other way, like you said before. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Facebook is still chiming in. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Now, I was just going to ask you, does April 20th hold any significance for you? Like, do you see this as a type of the beginning of something different, like America pivoting in another direction? Do you think that this is the start of something, that this is finally the obliteration of the blue wall in the police departments around the country in terms of covering their own, even when they're lying, even when they commit felonious assaults, even when they do egregious actions? What are your sentiments? What did you feel when you heard that verdict?
Well, I think it first of all shows that we need to stop over policing for sure. As you've seen in the last week in Minnesota, we've had a lot go on here, a lot of deaths, unnecessary deaths, that police are just overreacting without approaching the situation, with some empathy, find out what's going on before you pull out your gun, or in that case last week, supposedly your taser. And then, as you guys heard, not just in Minnesota, but in Ohio, with the young girl that just got murdered, with the police that called the 15-year-old. And so, as a mother of two children that are both teenagers, obviously I have fear for both of them, because, obviously my son for sure driving while black, and then my daughter, what if she calls the police now? And so the significance of yesterday means, yes, we started with one officer and we started with one situation, but we also cannot just minimize that and say, okay, we gave them one, and so here you go. No, we need, that was one for the last 400 years. Now we need them for the rest of everyone else's lives. And that's how I feel. So I think for was a huge day. There's so much work to do, though. You know what I mean? You guys know, I don't know if your parents, there's just so much work, and I fear for our children's future, because I also, I'm a little scared for retaliation too, because we're excited for that, outcome. There's a lot of people that are not. Go ahead.
Oh, he's just recounting exactly the time when the verdict rained down, when he was convicted on all 3 counts.
Yes.
I mean, that was an emotional moment. That was a powerful moment because it's just like everybody was able to exhale. I saw like a lot of people just exhaling and just breaking down in tears. Because just like Dwayne Wade said, and Shaquille O'Neal, NBA, TNT, ESPN, Fox News, there were a lot of athletes. LeBron James even said, he just said one word in all caps, accountability. There were a lot of athletes who came on account, and it was just the fact that there were a lot of people who were scared, nervous. There was a lot of trepidation because of the fact that they didn't know if this was going to be the verdict. Like they thought, because a lot of people who are old enough, and I'm old enough, and Portia act like she ain't old enough, but she old enough. She remembers Rodney King. And
I remember Rodney King. You're not alone, Portia.
I thought you were going to
Emmett Till. Oh, okay. No, I'm talking about.
I remember OJ.
Yeah. To hell, see, there you go. She's lying now. Now to hell with OJ. OJ, to hell with him.
OJ is not in this category, okay?
But
right. To hell. OJ can go to hell.
That's not the same thing. OJ's crime. That crime was a crime of passion. That's not the same thing.
Listen, but I'm saying it was about the same thing. In terms of hearing the verdict, so everybody was. It was different.
Yeah.
What I was referring to was something that Malcolm talked about and that Farrakhan talked about in the 1990s, just before. He said we can have all the evidence in the best case, but if it's not in accord with what they wish for us, we can't get justice. And it was just like this. The evidence was overwhelming in the Rodney King case, and they still got vindicated. The cops still got vindicated, exonerated, and now we have a case where it was similar to Rodney King. It was on video. You saw what they did to the guy, and he was convicted. So that was promising, because it couldn't have been a Rodney King in Minneapolis. That place would have burnt to the ground immediately.
Well, I think it's a different era too, right? It's a different era. So you got to think back to 1992 compared to 2020 at the time. Our voices are louder now. We have more power in the world. And, because that was like the first year, I thought about that. That was like a video camera back then, with Rodney King. Like that was, we had never seen that, besides if the news captured something overall. And so now everyone has phones. So obviously phones are record. That's what I'm telling them. Record, because it does work. But the biggest thing is finding one officer guilty does not exonerate the whole legal system. And we have to see, they have brutalized Black and brown people for years. And so that's where it starts. We have to start with the system, right? Because the system is broke. It's not made for Black and brown people whatsoever. And so with that being said, we have to start there. So like I said, this is accountability for Derek Chauvin, but outside of that, we have a lot of work to do. And I think everyone is doing a great job, especially in the Black and brown community, staying on the positive side and just really being active out there and doing the work. And I'm really proud that everything turned around yesterday, but we have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You wanted to go to Facebook, Portia? I'm sorry to interrupt.
I wanted to go to Facebook, and I also wanted to talk about our guest that's coming up too. While I'm going to Facebook, King James, we got a guest coming up at 8:45. Is that correct?
Yes, we have a guest scheduled to come on at 8:45, and it is Tashira Garraway, I believe that's how it's pronounced. And she is the founder of Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence, because her fiance was killed. I'm not going to say murdered. I'm going to say killed in St. Paul, which is down the street from Minneapolis, and thrown into a dumpster by the cops, allegedly. And so that's how she found out that her fiance was dead. And she still has a 14-year-old child from that relationship. So she was absolutely crushed. And so she's scheduled to come on at 8:45 to talk about her story and what she's doing, because she's going to the funeral for the mother of Dante Wright, the young 21-year-old man who was shot and killed accidentally by a stun gun on last Sunday. And instead of a, she said it was an accident, and she has been fired and has been charged with manslaughter. I don't know how she could be charged with manslaughter. See, I've held a gun before. I know that when you stick your gun out, when you stick your hands out, you can see what you're holding. You can feel what you're holding. So I'm not really understanding how it became an accident when you say on camera, taser, 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 and you're holding it. So you're able to view what you're looking at, and you're able to feel what you're holding. So, but anyway, that's another story for another day.
And you, well, so I'm not as familiar with guns. I did take a CCW class, but you still have to cock it back, right? Like you have to release the safety, and you have to cock it back. So you did all that.
They both have safety.
Right.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, like he said, one's yellow, one's black, one's 8 ounces, one's 2.6 pounds. There's no way. And her 26 years, she is full of it, you guys. She is full of it. She is full of it, full of it. There's no way you mix those two up, ever. So you just don't. You just don't.
Yeah. Going to Facebook, Kathleen says, shout out to Steve Jobs for
her reaction was because of
the iPhone. I'm sorry. Kathleen said, shout out to Steve Jobs, creator of the iPhone, for enabling us to get this viral technology and recording the things that we see, such as the George Floyd murder. Kendrick said, it's a battle won in a war that's still going on. Jean Bracey said, 420 has a new meaning. It definitely does. And
I forgot.
Well, I thought that's what you were indicating, KJ. You were like, does it have a new meaning for you? I'm like, well, no. But yes, it does. It does. Yeah. You forgot about that part, fortunately.
Yeah. So Snoop Dogg celebrated twice yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I don't know if y'all, a lot of people celebrated. I was downtown yesterday. A lot of people were celebrating. You should have seen the streets of Minneapolis. It was a beautiful sight. It was beautiful. People, black, white, brown, Native American, Hispanic, Asian, everybody was out, and they were screaming and in their cars honking with flags and just so much joy. You know, it was really great. Great. But I think the four people that really need the go ahead. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I noticed that it was a very I'm happy that you guys decided to continue to go ahead and march anyway. And it was a very peaceful, very subdued march, just like it was a victory march. It was a victory dance.
It was victory.
Down the street.
It was victory.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you guys still decided to stay in the streets. Like, okay, this is our victory. And we're still, we're still going to stay vigilant about what's going on in America and know that we got work to do. So just because we got this victory, we're not just going to go home. We're still going to march, and I thought that was an important statement.
Yeah.
Well, it's history. It's history in the making, and it's our city has went through a lot over the past year. You know what I mean? It's just been overwhelming between George Floyd and then COVID and then now Dante. So we needed some peace. Yesterday, and you felt the peace. It was like weight lifted off of our shoulders for sure. Like everyone's saying, they've been holding their breath for a year. And so it's just feels good today. The four people that need the biggest shout outs are the people that were there last year. Like you said, Darnella Frazier, Donald Williams, Jenna Scurry, and Genevieve Hansen, who really, if those four people would not had, like you said, your cell phone, Donald witnessed it and was right there by him as much as he can. The dispatcher that was like, something isn't right. And then Genevieve, the off-duty city firefighter that was like, we need to check his pulse, like something's not right.
She keeps
But it's
going in
yesterday and made it all clear what the decision needed to be.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
I want to go to some of these reactions on from other people that have Elijah McClain's father. He had a, I keep hearing an echo. He had a reaction to the George Floyd murder. Derek Chauvin's guilty verdict. So Elijah McClain's father, his name is LaWayne Mosley, he said that while nothing will bring back Floyd or McClain, his son, Elijah McClain. Elijah was the autistic boy that they killed, 23-year-old black man in August of 2019. Nonetheless, McClain said that he was happy for the family of George Floyd, that the officers who killed him have been held accountable. And again, Elijah McClain was a 23-year-old black man that died in Aurora, Colorado, 3 days after he was stopped. They put a chokehold on him, injected him with ketamine. He was autistic. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't. A 16-year-old girl that was shot just 3 hours after the verdict was brought in. Is she in Ohio? Was it Ohio?
Yes.
Columbus.
In Ohio.
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yes.
And
so, yeah.
We can't even celebrate.
So for
you know.
I know that's a thing. So like it's bittersweet, right? You're happy that justice was for that case, but now we have this case, right? And then we still have the 3 trials for the 3 officers in the George Floyd, and then we have to deal with the Daunte Wright and whatever other cases. I just saw a man in Kentucky that was protesting peacefully, and 6 officers brought him down for no reason and punched him in his face. So it's still,
wow.
I mean, we just scratched the surface, y'all. If we just scratch the surface, that's it. We have so much more to do. And I just want to give y'all grace.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just want to give y'all grace and, for creating this space for everyone to be able to speak and talk about this, because it is a lot of trauma. It is trauma in our bodies. It is trauma in our souls to deal with this every day and just have to walk around. And I feel for our brothers that you don't even get a chance some days. You don't get a chance.
Yeah.
So.
D. Shield said, "We are here for you, the family of Elijah McClain, killed while dancing and walking in Aurora, Colorado." Breonna Taylor, her mother, had a reaction as well in a Facebook post following the verdict. She had a short but powerful message, and she simply said, "Thank you, God. Thank you, God."
We need justice for her.
Yeah, and I know that's a sentiment that's shared with a lot of the families and survivors of police brutality. I know that the same is being said in some way with the mother of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And as well as all over the country, Sandra Bland, her family. I saw them on CNN yesterday. I saw the family members of Tamir Rice. There were a lot of people who were being interviewed yesterday, and they all said the same thing, that this was a powerful moment. And at the beginning, it could help the country pivot if the country wills. If that's the country's will, then the country can use this as a way to turn the corner and, like I said, tear down that blue wall in the police department forever. Because when you're corrupt in any sector of society, you are prosecuted. So why is that not the case with the police department? So yeah, that's it was a great moment, great day. It really was.
It was.
Somebody said you was indulging a little too much yesterday, King James. They said that's why you still think it's 420. They said you was indulging just a little bit too much.
Oh, got it.
Oh, boy.
And you know what? And you know what? Because I don't do it, it didn't occur to me that it was 420. I just saw it as April 20th,
You don't do
2020.
what? You know you do it for your glaucoma.
No. So because I don't partake, it didn't have a significant meaning to me. So it just went right over my head. The 420 went right over my head. So yeah. So now I
You're not buying
understand.
it, Portia.
Oh, why am I
Girl.
stuttering, TJ?
Portia's
I'm
not
stuttering.
buying it. She's not buying it at all.
Yeah, stuttering is usually like the first sign that someone is not telling the whole truth, embellishing just a little bit. I don't want to say lying because I don't like to call people liars, but I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all.
She said you had
So,
glaucoma. That's funny. Well, yes. Well, I hope everyone out there is trying to heal from the inside out in a positive way. Whether you're talking to someone or doing some exercise or having a healing group. Me and my Black girlfriends, we had a healing brunch and we discussed being Black mothers and what it's like in America, and we danced, and it just really helped on Sunday because, you know, it's terrifying out here for our young Black males, for sure. So I hope everyone's
I have
doing
a question.
themselves well.
I have a question for you, Shay. Were your kids out with you while you were
No,
downtown?
I wouldn't let them.
Okay.
I wouldn't let them come.
Did they
No,
want
we
to?
were in the
Did they
car
want to
too.
go?
So just so you know, I am not a protester. So two of my good girlfriends, they were on here, Kay and Mariam from Kay's. They picked me up and they just wanted to ride around and celebrate. We were just in the car. We never got out, and then we drove home. We're older. We had to come home. No, we weren't in the street. So I didn't want the kids to be out, but they were, you know, my kids had a walkout at school, and had a moment. Yep. So they got to celebrate some things at school, which was amazing. And they're, you know, makes them feel a little bit at ease. So.
I'm going back to D Shields on Facebook. She said a bogus 911 call from a white woman ended the life of Elijah McClain.
Mm-hmm.
She thought his dance moves appeared suspicious and violent.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing he
I
needs
just-
to, I mean, there's nothing he
You're
can
right.
say to that except for the fact that it is because of entrenched white supremacy in America that we are actually paranoid. Like you know, they were saying yesterday, we don't know if our next encounter with law enforcement will be our last encounter with anything.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know, you're scared to even get pulled over by the police. And I shared with Portia and Custom last week that I had gotten pulled over, and as soon as the car opened and a black man stepped out of the car, I breathed a sigh of relief. Now, what does that say?
Mhm.
What does that say? You know,
Speaks
and then
volumes.
right. And I wasn't going to move. And I reached, you know, I wasn't going to reach for my wallet while he was walking up to the car. And he said,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're going 30 miles over. And I said, no, I didn't realize that. Of course, you know, but he said, I need your ID. And I said, well, sir, it's in my wallet. Can I step out of the car? He said, man, if you don't get your wallet, you know, it was just like, it was no big deal. Like you know what I'm saying? This is how police interactions should have been. He was just like, he was letting me know, I know what you're feeling, brother. Just get your wallet and let's get this over with. I got you for speeding. I'm going to write you a ticket. And that's it. You're going to be able to live past this moment. He was like, man, go get your wallet, man. He said, my draw is faster than anything that you can do. So yeah, it was actually kind of a funny moment, even though he wrote me a $200 ticket. But yeah.
Damn.
Dang, you were going 30 miles? Where were you going?
Oh,
He had to get there.
it was, yeah. Yeah, I was trying to get the 420. But anyway, no, I was.
No, that's
So-
what
Of course,
he
like,
was
see,
doing,
I told y'all.
trying to get to the cabaret. He
Oh,
was trying to get to
whatever.
that cabaret, y'all.
No, no. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm
That's
talking
all
about
I'm
right
saying.
there.
That's exactly where you was going, ain't it? That's where you was going.
Nah,
But
I was just
the
late.
biggest thing right there is that traffic stops have become felony
I hate
and
her.
the streets.
Yeah.
A simple, and so that's why I'm glad he insured you. You're gonna be okay. We're just gonna have a normal. You were speeding, I'm gonna write your ticket, and you're gonna go pay it or fight in the court. And even even if someone has a warrant out, right? People have had warrants, and you're like, look, do you know you have a warrant out? They have let them go. like, oh no, I didn't, so it's just sad that you're
It's
scared to
sad.
get pulled
Yeah,
over
it's
now.
definitely sad.
No,
And
it's also worse that the contrast because of the fact that you have people shooting up churches, schools,
Right,
grocery stores.
right.
They're killing they're killing dozens of people at a time. They're shooting up workplaces, and none of them are ever shot by the police. They're always arrested.
Ever.
This dude is Elijah McClain is walking home and dies. Daunte Wright, it just has a warrant in which you have his license.
he had
so
some
even
air
if he gets-
fresheners dangling from his mirror.
right,
And
he had an
he
expired
got pulled
tag.
over.
So even if he gets in his car and gets away, you have his license plate, which means you know where he lives. You can get him later, or you
Right.
can chase him. But why shoot him?
Or
Why is it that? Yeah, go ahead.
or you could let the 6'2" black man that was standing there pull him out as soon as he got in. You think he couldn't have yanked him out? He didn't. Why did she have to step in? Like, I understand she was the train, but she let him have that moment. Like, he couldn't have snatched him out, y'all. We could have snatched him out. That kid was this big, that
Right.
big.
Yeah.
It just
There
makes
was
no
just no
sense.
need to use lethal force. You don't have to
Exactly.
use lethal force. It's been proven over and over again, time and time again, that police officers know how to use restraints, especially against Caucasian males who fight back, who say I got a gun,
Right.
who point guns at them, and who drive off and who ram the cars and and who shoot up churches and who it's been proven over and over again that they know how to use restraint and they continue to use lethal force when it comes to black people.
Yes, and that's a
Right.
great segue.
You can't even
That's a
just say
great
black
segue to
men. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Black
You have to
people.
say black people because that young girl that was shot and killed yesterday was a female. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes. No. This is great. But this is a great segue to our next point. I mean, it's apropos that we're talking about the subject because our next guest is one of the survivors, is one of the people who has had to survive police brutality to one of the beloved family members, or was going to be a family member. So we have Tashira Garraway, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong when you come on to the show. And she founded an organization called Families Supporting Families Against Police Brutality or Police Violence. And so welcome to the Rolling Out AM Wake Up Call. We know that several years ago, your fiance was brutally killed by police in the neighboring city of St. Paul, which is down the street, literally from Minneapolis, and down the street from Brooklyn Center, which was the site of another police. So it just keeps happening. This is like a nightmare that keeps playing over and over again. And not only did they kill your fiance, they threw him in a dumpster, like trash. So we wanted you to, I'm glad that you were able to come on today to share your story and what you're doing with the organization, because I know that tomorrow you're going to attend a funeral, continue to help console the mother of Daunte Wright. So welcome to the Rolling Out AM Wake Up Call. How are you feeling today?
It's a range of emotions. I am very grateful for what happened. But I don't even know if I want to use the word grateful because it was something that was deserved. But so it's feelings because I prayed with George Floyd's family for yesterday to happen, but I know that it's so many more families that are out here like mine that people don't know about. I feel this is not Minnesota, this is Mississippi. I have a relationship with Emmett Till's family, and his family, his first cousin, his mother's sister daughter, looked at the pictures of my son's father when the way his body was found after they beat him to death. And she said, this reminds me of Emmett Till. This was a 2009 lynching here in Minnesota. And they tried to sweep his murder under the rug. and cover it up. But God and as well as myself will not allow that to happen. So, but this morning I'm feeling so happy for the Floyd family. But at the same time, I'm here. I'm living through it myself, and I'm also walking with mothers and significant others and sisters that are hurting so bad right now because we didn't receive that. And it's painful when you lose the person you love and you get to hear, and I'm so grateful for that for George Floyd family, but you get to hear people say, George Floyd, George Floyd. But we know there's been over 470 murders at the hands of law enforcement here in the state of Minnesota in the last 20 years. And there's only yesterday, yes, 470 murders of Black and Indigenous people here in the state of Minnesota in the last 20 years. And that is just the reported murders. To my partner group, which is Communities United Against Police Brutality. She collects the data when people report the murders. But I know families that are not a part of that list. And it is a high potential for way more than that. But out of all of these murders prior to yesterday, there had only been one officer in the history of Minnesota to ever be convicted of killing a civilian, and that was a minority man that killed a white woman. He was the only officer in the history of Minnesota to ever be convicted of killing a civilian, and it happened to be the minority man. So we see what's going on. We know what's going on. This place is rooted in white supremacy and white privilege. It is very racist here in Minnesota, and it's undercover racism. These people will be smiling in your face, and they'll be covering up a murder for your loved one behind your back.
Wow.
And I just...
No, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. No, finish your thought, please.
I was just going to say that they also leave these families. There's a reparation board called the Crime Victims Justice Unit. And that is, if a regular civilian on the street kills your loved one violently, they will help pay for mental health services, funeral costs, as well if the person had children, as I did. They will help pay for $400 a month until the child is 18. Or the however many children the person had. If your loved one is killed by a regular civilian, you get those services. But if your loved one is killed by law enforcement here in the state of Minnesota, our families do not qualify for those services. So they leave the families out here after government officials murder our loved ones the same manner, should I say, as George Floyd. It may not have been in the exact same way. Maybe they were beat to death. Maybe they were shot multiple times. I got families, they shot this one young man so many times. But you only hear about stories like George Floyd, Philando Castile, and Dante Wright and Jamar Clark. But for every high-profile case that you hear of, there's 100 murders behind that have been covered up here in the state of Minnesota. These are hunts on our men here in the state of Minnesota.
I agree.
Before I let the other people ask the question, I just wanted to know, was this part of the reason why you decided to found your organization, Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence, and when did you do it? And what is this organizational objective?
So, about 3 years ago, I went to an NAACP, or about almost 4 years ago, I went to a NAACP meeting where I met, Leslie Redmond. She was the president at that time of the NAACP. She introduced me to Jamar Clark's sister. At that time, we were talking, and we just thought about and talked about how there were no services for the families. There were no support services. And it's still not to this day. I have families that tell me all the time, Tashira, this organization is the only organization that has ever supported my families. So you can get the testimonies from the families that will tell you that. But I just decided, I wanted to be something that I have when Justin was murdered. Like I said, they murder our loved ones. This state, these government officials, because that's what the police are. They murder our loved ones, and then this state just leaves these families out here with nothing. So one thing I help with is transportation, because I have support group meetings for the families. So I rent out a space downtown Minneapolis at the Aloft Hotel. So we do them over Zoom as well for whoever can't make it, because I got families that are far out in Minnesota. So we do it over Zoom and in person, so everyone can be included. I have these support group meetings, so I help with the little funding that I have. I help pay for transportation. Sometimes when the families come into town, I help pay for their hotel stay to be a part of the support group. One of the main objectives for me is to help the families get their stories out. I know how it feels, for them to try to cover up your murder of your loved one. And it's the most excruciating thing in the world, where the truth of what happened to your loved one, but they're putting out all different kinds of stories about your loved one in the newspaper. And for these families, so one thing that I do, the birthdays and the date of death are the hardest for the families. And so one thing that Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence provides is, I understand that I used to have all this stuff planned for Justin for his birthday or the date of his death. That day would come and I would literally shut down. I would want to go in my room, shut my door. I didn't want to be bothered with nobody. And now I decided I'm going to take that pressure off of the families. And so we do the entire event to amplify their loved one's name. I get the media there, the balloons, the candles, the food, whatever the family envisions or want for that day. That's what we work hard, but mainly to get the media and everyone there to amplify the story, to talk about this specific story of this person, because people don't know about Cordell Handy, Jafford Smith, Justin Tigan, Isaac Aiden, Grant Quinlan, Travis Jordan, all of these other names. People don't know. Demetrius Hill, Kobe Heisler. Kobe Heisler was killed up the street from where Dante Wright was killed. And I had to shut down my son's father event last Sunday. It was his birthday. And I've only done 2 events for my son's father in 11 years because I've been stalked. I've been harassed. They've sat outside my home, the police. They sat outside his mother's home because we were seeking answers. We were seeking the truth of what really happened to Justin. And so I was afraid. I was 23 years old when they beat him to death and threw him in the dumpster.
So can you, and I know this is heart-wrenching for you and it's traumatizing as well. And we're just now learning about what happened to Justin, your child's father. But can you take us back to then and let us know about what happened to him? You were 23. I'm not exactly sure how old your son was, but what happened to Justin?
So my son was 3 years old at the time. Justin was pulled over in a traffic stop. A lot of these murders are just simply traffic stops. He was pulled over in a traffic stop, and he did get out the car and run. I see that on the video. Now, I want to remind you guys that they did not tell us the truth in the beginning. They told us he was in an accident and missing from the scene of an accident. They never told us that originally he had gotten pulled over. They missed that part somehow. We found out later that he was in fact pulled over. So the lie started from the beginning. They then told us a different location of where the incident happened. So we found out where the incident was. He did get out of the car and run, but once we figured out, why weren't they honest about some things, then we had questions.
Yes.
We then walked into the mortuary. Justin's skull was cracked in half. His head was the size of a watermelon. I have pictures of Justin's body literally dangling from the bobcat. His wrist was detached from his arms. You could see where he had the handcuffs on, the handcuff marks. His wrist was detached from his arms. He had dog bites all over his body. He had bruising. His eyeballs were punched in. This was a hate crime. But we know when you run from the police, or at least black men, if you run from the police, it's like slavery. If you run, they beat you. And we know that's what the police is rooted in. So this is what I saw when I walked into the mortuary, and I was screaming because I couldn't believe he looked like this. Okay? And so then we wanted to know, why did this traffic stop? How did he get pulled over and end up dead in a garbage can?
Right.
Then at that point, we started seeking answers. Once we started seeking answers, we went to the lady who did the autopsy on his body. Now, mind you, the police would never let us look at this video. We were requesting, because they claim he ran from the scene of the accident, jumped in a dumpster, and died. So all we wanted as a hurting family, we wanted those answers. We just wanted to see if this was the truth. If this is true, let us see the video so we can go, so we can go on with our lives. That's all we were asking for as normal human beings. But they think that black men are not normal human beings that have people that love them. They think it's just another, be honest. I'm going to be honest and straightforward and transparent. They think our black men are just another nigga on the street.
Yeah, we're not.
So-
they don't think that we're human, that black men are human. But
Exactly. They
And
don't
so when
value
we
our
started
lives.
getting answers, we see a video that shows them catch Justin, and then it goes blank. The video goes blank in the middle of when they catch him on the video. Now, again, the St. Paul police did not allow us to look at this video. It was the lady who did the autopsy on his body who looked like she was afraid for her own life. And the crazy thing about that is she's the same woman who testified in George Floyd's trial, on Derek Chauvin's trial. I'm sorry, let me get that correct.
right.
The same officer or the same woman. But we see the video goes blank, so it's clear that it's tampered with, that they edited the video once they catch Justin. And that's when the harassment started, because we were seeking these answers. That's when I began to be followed. I will never forget an officer, when I came out of the store and I put my son in the car, he rolled his window down and he just waved at me like this. He wanted me to know, I know who you are. And I was very afraid. My family was afraid for me. My father grew up in Mississippi. He said, baby, I know what they do to people that try to uncover this stuff. And it's been these long, agonizing years for me. And I can't live like this any longer. I have to tell the truth of what happened to Justin Tigan. And also now I help other families come forward with their truth as well.
Let's see.
It's a lot.
Yeah, did you also have a question for our guest, for Tashira?
No, I was just saying that's a lot. And
Okay.
that's a lot. That's a lot to carry around. A lot. Wow. I'm
What
sorry.
did-
you
what,
were
If it wasn't for my,
No, go ahead.
if it
Go ahead,
if it
Tashira.
wasn't for my son and my faith, that because it is a lot. So you guys are in this and you can hear it a lot. Imagine how it is to live this. I had to shut down Justin's event last week for his birthday to go console Dante Wright's mother and for her to cry on my shoulders. And I've only done 2 events for him. And I literally ended up getting a call in the middle of speaking for that event. In the middle of speaking, I got the call that Dante had got murdered. And the lady that
Mm-mm-mm.
murdered him, I'm hearing from a source that I trust that she actually knew this woman and that this woman had been profiling people already. So she doesn't even believe, this person that knows the officer personally doesn't even believe that this was an accident, that she thought it was her taser, that she believes that this is just an alibi that she's using to get off. You know, they always use something. I was scared, or I mistake my gun for my taser, or you know, they always come up with something to kill our people. They gotta get off somehow. You know, they need an alibi.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, yeah.
but
Right. They need an
No,
alibi.
yeah.
An
So,
excuse.
what is it that your experience has taught you, and that you're able to help other family members, like Dante Wright, and it probably won't be the last, unfortunately. Now, I'm
Right.
just keeping it real.
yeah,
What is it? Because, like I said, yesterday was accountability, not justice. Like the
Right.
right verdict came down, but the institution by which produced that monstrosity is still breathing. So,
Right.
what? I mean, what has this experience girded you with, that you're able to comfort other people, even though you're still in the midst of your own searing, pretty much everlasting pain? What are you able to provide for other mothers or other family members?
well, and like I said before, is the main thing is I just want to be that support that I didn't have when they murdered them. Um, so a lot of times I'm just listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I spend hours on my phone, seriously. Um, I spend hours in these support group meetings because I'm pulling the families together to just simply talk and vent. But sometimes they don't want to talk about this stuff in a group setting. So a lot of times when I'm not having the support group meetings, I am meeting with the families individually, or the mothers individually. Or like yesterday, George Floyd's girlfriend reached out to me and she said, Tashira, I just want you to be there with me when they read the verdict. So I spend a lot of individual time.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is I still work a job because I have to provide for me and my son.
Yes.
Again, they have provided no resources here for our families. It is disgusting, and it's the most inhumane thing I've ever seen in my life. But beyond that, I still have work to do, and I feel that my spirituality, God has still called me to do something, and I'm about my Father's business.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Yeah.
it is excruciating. It is excruciating to leave. No one hardly knows about my son's father's story, and I wanted to amplify his story last week. And it was hurtful to leave his event, to have to go be there for another. But it is what I am called to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I asked God why. A long time ago, I asked him, why would you put me in a predicament like this? You know, Justin's gone, but yet I had to live through what happened to him. That image of when I walked into that mortuary will go with me for the rest of my life. But he needed me to identify with something, because this pain is a different type of pain. When the government murders your loved one, the state and the officers get to walk free, and you get to see one man yesterday out of all the rest of these murders that are out here. You know, so, but I understand that it's something called man's justice, and it's something called God's justice. So I understand that, and I get it, because it's going to be served either way.
Yeah.
They're not going to
thought you
win.
brought something up.
Right.
No, go ahead, Portia. I'm sorry.
My heart definitely goes out to you, and I applaud you for all of the efforts that you do within the community, hopefully for yourself. We're sending you love. Facebook is chiming in and they have nothing but love for you. There was a sidebar going on. I don't know what was going on with that.
I saw
But
that.
Kathleen is saying, Kathleen says,
Mhm.
you're chosen, sis. G
Yeah.
Shield says, my heart goes out to her, sending her prayers of continued strength for all she is called to do. Um, yeah, may God be with you and your family, said Mustafa Kawibe. I want to know, you pour into so many people. Um, where do you get your love and support from? Like, who, I know from God, but do you have a support system and set up for yourself? And where does that come from?
Yes. Well, one thing is my family. Um, I am so grateful that I do have a good family. And so just spending time with them. And then one thing about our group is we honestly love on each other. So just as much as I'm pouring in, they're also pouring into me too.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of good times as well. Because sometimes we do brunches for the mothers. We're gonna all go out to eat. We're gonna go to Dante's funeral tomorrow. I'm gonna be helping his mom with that tomorrow, and then I'm gonna take all the families out to eat tomorrow. But we have so many good times where we party together, we barbecue together. We had something called What They Meant to Me not too long ago,
Mm,
where everyone made their loved one's favorite dish. So like Philando Castile's mom brought Philando's favorite spaghetti dish. Baked
mm,
macaroni and cheese was Jamar Clark's family. And then I had this crew barbecue for us. So I have a good family. Most of all, they do want me to stop. They want, because they just, as far as being out there speaking publicly, I think my
Mhm.
mother, she really does get worried about me for that part, just because that puts a target on your back. But
Right.
mhm.
I wanted to tell you guys too, this is on a different note. I wanted to tell you guys we are fighting, we do have 9 bills on the table in the
Yes.
legislature right now. And
Mm,
one
mm,
of the main bills is this that's important to me is the statute of limitation for wrongful death.
Mhm.
We want that removed, as well as the removal of qualified immunity, as well as release of the body cams between 28 to 48 hours. These are what we
Mhm.
want to
mm,
get passed as laws. And so right
Mhm.
now we have ex police officers that are the people that are in the legislation building making decisions. So they're not giving hearings to these bills in the
Mhm.
Senate. The governor, I've met with the governor. He's ready to sign off, but these people, literally, they got older cops, retired cops, working to pass the law. So it's all a big cycle. And we have to
Right.
understand another thing too, that these murders that are happening, uh, it's not just the police. It's the whole system. So our
Right.
families have literally watched the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal of Apprehension. They're supposed to investigate police killings. They help the police departments, the forensic pathologists, and the county attorneys. They all work together to cover up these murders that led up to Dante Wright and George Floyd.
wow.
So we got to
Wow.
That's
know
horrible.
that it's the whole system, and that's why I continuously tell the people over on our side and the families they have a system, and we have to
Mhm.
have a system.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To share, how can people get involved with your organization and help you through this journey and getting the word out?
Thank, thank you for asking me that, my sister. The website is www.fsf, FSSAPV.org. So it's the first letter of each word in Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence. You can also find us on Facebook, Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence. And on both pages, the Facebook page, you can press message, send me a message. Me or my assistant or check it out, or even on the website, you can send a message as well, and you can also donate on the website as well.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you so much. This is
I know that was a lot to unpack. That is.
And just imagine, guys, I go through this. I'm in interview after interview after interview. So this, what I'm doing, I literally probably do this. I'll probably do this at least 3 or 4 more times today. In addition to that, just going out,
We're saying you're a blessing. You definitely were the chosen one, and just amazing work that you're doing.
I always say, it might be my mouth, my hands, my feet, my fingers, and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's for him. It's him.
Yeah.
It's just him using us all for his glory, and enough is enough, though. Enough is enough for them doing this, and we're gonna do it together. Even you guys using your platform to have me here. This is a way of fighting back, using your platform to talk about this, and so people can hear about it and know about it, because they've been very strategic at covering this stuff up here in Minnesota. And we got to know it's a problem here.
And Jay Wendell Gordon, he's the warrior attorney, the warrior lawyer. He comes on the show pretty often, but even last week he said that we have to look at the entire system, including the judges, because the judges they have a huge influence on what's going on as well. So we have to take a look at it all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your powerful
Yes.
story.
Thank you.
You have a lot of strength and courage and love to give, and we appreciate you for that. All of
That's
us.
deep.
Yes. Thank you so much. One more time, share your Instagram, Facebook, one more time for the audience so that they can
so I can follow you right now.
Yeah, so we can follow you. And
on Instagram, it's FSFAPV. That's the Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence page at FSFAPV. Facebook is Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence. And the website is www.fsfapv.org, and it's the first letter of each word, Family Supporting Families Against Police Violence.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your
And my
story.
name again is Tashira Giraway. You can find me too on Facebook. On Instagram is at Tashira Nicole, my middle name, but you can find me on Facebook too, Tashira Giraway.
Okay.
Well, sister, make sure you're taking care. Make sure you're taking care of yourself too. Make sure you're breathing and taking some time out.
Yeah, one of the moms, she called me. She was like, "It's time for you to take a trip. I'm gonna get you some resources so you can take a trip." Everybody's telling me it's time for me to go take a trip, so I think I'm gonna go take a trip.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because you've been a blessing to others. It's time for you to allow other people to bless you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And from here in Atlanta, I bless you with love for not only you, but for the people that you're supporting and what's going to take place tomorrow, because that's going to be a devastating atmosphere at the funeral of Daunte Wright, because it was so unnecessary. And like she said, he only weighed this much. He's only this big. And you didn't have to. I mean, there were 3 officers on this. You know what? I can't even go through that right now.
I know.
Thank you so much for what you do, and I bless you. I bless you with love.
Keep us posted about that too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, and keep pushing, sister. And as always, inhale the positive and exhale the negative. Right?
And I'm
do we breathe together, y'all? Breathe.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sending positive vibes your way.
Inhale, exhale. You're amazing. You're amazing. So
Thank you.
great
Thank
job.
y'all so much.
Yes.
I
Much
appreciate
support.
all
Love.
three of you guys. And it's
We
beautiful.
appreciate
You know, I just love my people. You know, I
Yeah.
really do. I just love us. We've endured so much. And
Yes.
we sick. I'm sick of these people. But I'm so grateful to be on this call with you guys as well this morning. And I love you guys, and we will win. We
Yes.
We
will
win.
win.
Yes, it's Winning
Oh,
Wednesday.
yeah.
You are
Okay.
winning. You're winning. You are
Yes.
winning for
Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
For
Thank you
sure.
so much.
Thank you
So
so
God
Thank
much.
bless
We
you
you.
and take care
appreciate
for
you.
coming on. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Woo!
you. Have a good
Thanks.
day, guys.
All right.
You
Have a
All right,
later.
good
take care.
day. Bye. See you next week.
Mm-mm.
Woo.
Yeah, that was emotionally.
I didn't know that.
That was
I know her
that
too,
was
and I
hard.
didn't know that about her.
Do you know her?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
know her?
our sons are in a Black men's positive healing group for young men. Yeah, so I didn't know, and I was like, wait, I know her. Yeah. Yeah, but I never knew that story about her. She's never told it in the meetings we've sat down. You know, like she said, she doesn't share that. So, and I didn't know she did that work. So I'm gonna connect with her for sure because I think that takes a lot. She's opening her wounds every time she goes to help another family. So God bless her because that's
And to
intense.
talk to us. And to talk to us. You know?
Right. Yeah, to talk about it. And that was like, but you have to tell these stories. That's right. We can't, like you said, it's been swept underneath the rug. We have to tell these stories so people understand what's
Absolutely.
going on. Yep. So we know. Well, y'all, that's been that was intense. But I love these
That
segments
was
and I'm glad.
intense.
Yeah,
Woo!
that was intense. That was a lot. But I appreciate the sister. I appreciate this space. And as we said, it's still Winning Wednesdays. We still did come off with a win, but we have a lot more work to do. So
We
we
got
got
work to
this.
do, y'all.
Absolutely.
We got a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
She shows a lot of courage, a lot of
Right.
chutzpah.
Right.
And I just commend her for it, you know. Having to deal with that at such a young age is traumatizing.
Right.
Like I think when I was younger, I always had apprehension about going to funerals because I wanted to remember the person as they
Right.
were, as opposed to how they look just now. And she said she walked in the
Mortuary.
autopsy room or
Yeah, the
the
mortuary.
morgue. She walked in the
Mortuary.
morgue and she
Morgue,
saw
yeah.
her
Yeah.
boyfriend, the state that he was in. And I had a traumatic death in my family in 2016, and my aunt got shot in the head in San Francisco, and I was here in Detroit, and of course we flew to San Francisco to make arrangements and attend the funeral. My mom was with me, and so we traveled from Detroit to San Francisco. But nonetheless, my uncle said that he had to endure that same thing when he had to go identify the body. And he said everything was swollen. Her face was swollen. She didn't look like herself. He said her eyes were popping out. And I was hurt and sad and traumatized that, you know, somebody that I know that was so close to me got shot in the head, literally. But I
Right.
was also grateful that I didn't get a chance to see her like that. Like, I don't remember her like that.
Right.
And so being 23, I couldn't even imagine
Right.
having to go through all of that trauma and deal
That's
with it. Still be a mom.
That's a lot. That's a lot to endure. So, okay.
Yeah.
Is that to
And
share? Okay.
these
Okay.
are memories of Tashira and
Shira
her
and
child's father.
okay. So back then,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
And
yeah.
especially the one
I
I
couldn't
like
even
in the lower right
imagine
corner where he's sleeping with his baby
with the
with his
son.
son
Yeah.
who is now 14 years old. So that's the son that's your son now hangs out with in Minneapolis, and yeah, that's just
Okay, I got me a warning. I'm not looking. Go ahead, TJ. Let me know when it's done because I'm not looking at the next one.
I'm okay. Go ahead.
I'm not.
Mm.
I don't even want
So
to
that was
see
the
it.
state of her. That was the state of her boyfriend when the
Mm.
police when they
Yeah.
found him. And as you can see, there's trash
Whew.
and it's upside down in a dumpster. And I saw that. I wasn't going to show it because it's like it's too much. Like I can't view I can't view George Floyd anymore underneath the knee. It's just too.
Right.
It causes such a visceral reaction within me. It's just like this is why we suffer from PTSD because of things like this. And so, again, shout out to Miss Frazier for capturing that. But she is so young; she was only 17 when she did.
I know.
And I know that she went through a lot of emotional trauma and had to seek counseling. And that's when you know that sometimes God puts you in places because this is a woman who has a disorder of being out in public. So she has some struggles sometimes being out in the public. So she goes to what she has to do and gets back to the house. But that day she stayed. And she happened to be the one who detests crowds. She was the one that stayed there and captured that. So sometimes that lets you know that she was meant to be there. She changed history. Think about without that. Think about all the circumstances. Yeah, think about everything that's happened.
It wouldn't have happened. I mean, she's brave. She is brave. There'd be no verdict, right? There'd be no verdict, and it would have just been another brother that is resisted arrest, and so that's why he died because he should have complied. And just so much tragedy I feel for our young people right now. As my teenagers, I'm trying to as much as I can keep them safe, but also they're so exposed to so much, right, compared to when we were their age. And so it's very difficult because I try and have these open conversations with them, like, how are they feeling, right? What happened at school today? Make sure you talk to me, because there's a lot that goes on in schools that affects them, and these teachers, these white teachers, are not taking in consideration what these kids are going through at home that are Black and brown kids. And so that's just so much for her to endure, like you said, Portia, so young. And now that's with her for the rest of her life. But also she realizes, if I want to film that, she changed history, like you said, King James, she changed history. And all those people did. And I'm just, really, I don't know. That's so much. So much what Tashira just said.
Yes, it's just so much. It's you're speechless, and unfortunately, hers is not an isolated incident.
No.
We might not know about them all, but it's definitely not an isolated incident, especially for the ones that we do not know about. We know about all of the hashtags, but we don't know about all of the other ones that they swept under the rug when social media wasn't as prevalent. All of the lies, like she said, we were trying to figure out what was the initial lie. It's just
right. Or if the camera hadn't been there, they would have done the autopsy and blamed it on health issues. Because remember, they were already checked. They would have said, well, yep, that's what they would have said. And we would have thought, we would have thought, but other people especially, well, that's what happened. He had the opiates in him and So cameras, I encourage people, always have your phone charged and have that camera ready, because it really is helping a lot. And in this day of age, it's a way to protect us, right? It's our protection. So.
Yeah, it's the great equalizer. It's helping to expose what they've spent decades trying to deny what's going on. I remember being in college, and we had rallies at college at Ohio State and the University of Akron, and white people will honestly say, "What rights do you have that I don't have? I mean, what rights do I have as a white person that you don't have? You have the same rights as I do. We're equal." And I'm just appalled, and I'm right. It's frustrating trying to teach people that we are not treated equally. We are not.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? And so I think that the camera, the invention, thanks to Steve Jobs, but their own inventions, the mainstream's own inventions have come back to bite them because it's used to expose what they've been trying to camouflage
To hide.
and has successfully, and they're right, successfully camouflaged for decades. Now there's no more hiding from it. There's no more hiding, and because of this string of we got another police shooting, as I can see. I'm looking at the TV with Columbus, Ohio, and they're talking about it now, and we'll find out later the circumstances behind it. But the thing is that I think what the camera phone has done is just it completely pulled the rug or completely pulled the sheet off of what they were trying to do, and that is perpetuate white supremacy while simultaneously acting like it don't exist.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what they've been able to do. And in 2020, that stopped. In 2020, I mean, it's over. There's no more denial. There's no more saying, well, we're all equal in this country, and
They can't
you know,
hide
you
it
got
anymore.
rights, and I got rights. Yeah,
Right.
I couldn't believe
Right.
it. These people that are at these rallies, you know, you have these rallies at these colleges, and I couldn't believe that they honestly believed in their heart that I had the same rights, equal protection under the law as they did. So, yeah, TJ is. I don't know if I can watch this. I'm putting my head down. Go ahead, TJ.
What
If the
is
audience,
this?
This
is from
video
the
of
young girl
police shooting.
yesterday. Okay, go ahead.
They're showing them again. Go ahead, TJ. Whenever you're ready. Thank you very much, TJ.
My name is Michael Woods. I'm the interim chief of police for the Columbus Division of Police. Earlier today,
We
had
can't
a
hear it.
police-involved shooting. Normally, we don't provide information.
We can't hear it, TJ.
This soon, but we understand the public's need, desire, and expectation
I can
to
hear
have
it.
transparency upon what happened. We've worked
Okay,
very
that's
hard
better.
tonight
Thanks.
to provide you a short video of the officer, the first officer that arrived at scene, and this is the officer that did ultimately fire his weapon. We are not able to provide all public records associated with this tonight because of the redaction process and the public records laws. What we will be able to show you is the basic information that we have from our records. These are only gleaned from information that we have available to us. We do not interfere with BCI's investigation, so no information was obtained through witness interviews or officer interviews. At approximately 4:32 this afternoon, officers were dispatched to 3171 Legion Lane. The information was that a caller said females were there trying to stab them and put their hands on them. Dispatchers tried to obtain information about weapons, but were unable to gather that information. Officers were dispatched at 4:36 and arrived at 4:44. We will play the first video in real time.
Hey! What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Hey! Get down!
Jesus.
Back up. She had a knife, she just went at her.
Why is he still holding his gun?
Yeah. Well, what that does show. Well, he finally. Yeah, that's Portia, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
'Cause I'm just going off.
Like, why is, like, what? Who trains these people? I'm serious. Who is training these people? That's insanity. That's all you were trained to do is walk up to the situation and pull out your gun. You didn't even know what was going on. That is infuriating.
He didn't.
Just
That's the situation. He saw a fight. He pulled out his gun. Get down, get down, get down, and shot 4 times. Did you guys see how the other officer? I'm not sure if it was an officer or if it was an EMT. How he kept looking back at him like, "What did you like?
right.
What did you do? Why would you do that? That didn't make any type of sense." I think the sentiments were the same for everyone on the scene. Like, she's a kid. She was a kid.
She's a child. Yeah. And yes, they
And
never learned that in training. They did not learn that in training. They were taught to de-escalate, and they don't use those tactics whatsoever, ever,
no,
ever.
it's just like when they get on the scene, and it goes from 0 to 10 right away with us.
It goes from
They're
0 to
just hardly
black.
getting. Yeah, well, okay, good, yeah, good, yeah, that's a good way to put it. It goes from 0 to black, and I've seen videos. It's almost becoming a running joke on Facebook. These videos that get circulated showing white people actually fighting the cops, beating up the cops,
Ramming their car
struggling.
with the car that they have. Yeah.
And living like they're living, like they're put in
Living.
handcuffs after they're living, they're fighting the cops, they're punching the cops, they're beating the cops, they're screaming at the cops, they're cussing at
They're
the cops,
pointing guns at the
and
cops. Hmm.
and they're pointing guns at the cops, and they live.
And they
This
get
was
to
a
have
fight,
their day in court. They get to
right?
have their day in court. And then they don't even get sentenced to that much. So then they get time to live in prison and then get out to be with their families later on. Overall,
Right. And that
No.
is the disparity. That is the disparity that we've been talking about that got exposed in 2020. Like, there was no more hiding from this. And I'm glad that that the Columbus Police Department went ahead and revealed this video right away. And that they did it, they're starting to do that. See, this is one of the things that is part of George Floyd's legacy, is that we get police departments to be more transparent and to, because you remember, they used to sit on these videos for months before they would show it, giving them
right.
time to edit it, get their story straight around it. This just happened yesterday, and they've already released it. So
Yeah.
there's no hiding. You can't take this information and make up a story around it and try to pretty it up. You know what I'm saying? So that is part of the George Floyd legacy, is that the public is demanding immediate accountability and transparency. And if there's something wrong with it, like I see go ahead.
Did you
No,
see
I'm
the
saying
comments?
transparency. Absolutely. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and if there's anything wrong, that the prosecution, the DA's office begin, there's an investigation, and they're prosecuted. So I do like this is definitely, the Columbus Police Department would not have released it so quickly on the same day if it had not been for George Floyd. So
Right.
while we mourn his loss,
Yeah.
he is not dying in vain. Like, he's like an angel in the sky who helped to direct what's going on now. Because there's no way that the police department, because I remember police department used to holding on to video for months, weeks,
Right.
months, and several months. And by the time they got it out, it's already been redacted. It's been edited.
Right.
It's been prettied up.
Oh my God.
No, yeah. So I'm
So first
Did
King
you,
I'm
did you
more
see
I'm
that
more
one?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shay.
I just said, did you
Shay.
see the comment in the chat on Facebook?
On Facebook?
So,
What did it say? Which one?
So if I was, because I always like to do my work right. So if I was reading it right yesterday, she called the police that some girls came to her house to jump her, correct? That was her house?
Yeah,
We
I
know
didn't
that?
get an
That's not
opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she
Okay,
came,
TJ
so they
is
came
right.
to her house, and so she called the police, and so she was protecting herself with the knife. So someone had put in the chat, sorry that the girl got killed, but she would have killed the other young lady that was going after her. Well, that's not the point of this situation, because she actually had called the police to say, they're coming to my house to jump them, and as you see, there was multiple girls there. But at the end of the day, no one needed to be killed. No one should be killed.
Especially when you have two male grown police officers on the scene.
Thank you.
Because, one of the things that I was taught when I was a police officer in the military is that when we get dispatched to a location, do not go into it when 911 or the dispatcher lets you know that there's a weapon involved in whatever situation. So that he had backup. And on average, men weigh heavier and they're stronger. So if she had a knife in her hand, you could have, I don't know. I just thought that there was some other manner, and then to shoot 4 times as if she was in no danger to him, to the officer. 4 times, like I don't. It's so problematic for me.
Yeah.
Very traumatic. You did see a lot of people that were on the scene. My thought is just don't call the police, y'all. Like, as sad as that sounds.
I hear you, Portia.
As sad as it sounds, like, can we handle it? Can we contain the situation? Can we, don't call the police. Just don't call the police. Sad.
Yeah. So I have nothing. I agree with you. Don't call the police. They are not here to protect Black and brown people. They are not here for us. And until the system is changed, we will continue to see these killings and murders. There was a wonderful therapist yesterday. A Black woman had a breakdown in Brooklyn Center and drove her car and sat in the middle of the road. And
that picture.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yep. So she was she kept saying, "Don't look at me. Do you know your gun from your taser?" And she just kept saying it. So she had just had enough. And so a Black woman that happened to be a therapist that had just probably drove, and she held the officers off, and they're like, "You can't walk by her." She goes, "Yes, I can." And she helped de-escalate the situation, and she sat in the middle of the street because the woman's having a breakdown, right? She's tired of seeing it. And they were, they all had their hands on their hip instead of sitting down with her. And this Black woman, she was a social worker, a therapist, and cussed them out and talked to this woman and stopped this woman from being killed because they were probably getting ready to blast her. And all she was doing, y'all, was sitting in the middle of the street. Clearly, if someone's sitting in the middle of the street with nothing but their dress on, something's wrong here. They've had a breakdown. And she goes, "I'm tired." She goes, "I'm tired."
Yeah.
And all she kept saying is, "Do you know your taser from your gun? Do your job."
Yeah.
She just kept saying that. But you're right, Portia. Don't call the police. We got to help each other.
Yeah, and see, okay, when you juxtapose what you just saw in that video and what you saw when the woman was sitting in the middle of the street and the cops had their hands on their guns already. And then I juxtapose that with the image of what I saw on Lone Star Law or One Star Law on the Animal Channel. What happened was that the police officer, these are state police, and he went up to, at night, he knew that the man had a gun in his truck. And he walked up as if he was walking up as if he was just taking out the trash. The cop walked up to the truck at night, knowing he had a gun in his car, didn't have his hand on his weapon, and asked him, "Don't lie to me. Do you have a gun in your car?" And the guy lied. And then he finally told the truth. Take that image and with the image that you see when they roll up on the scene with 2 women or just 1 woman, you already got your hand on your gun. You're ready to blast her into the next life. But take that image of a white police officer walking up at night with a man in the truck and he has a gun in his car and he don't even have a hand on his weapon. The police officer walked up as if it was his cousin or his friend. Now, don't lie to me. I know you got a gun in there. He still don't have his hand on the gun. Matter of fact, he was so comfortable that the officer rested his arm on the window sill of the truck and said, "Now don't lie to me. I know you got a gun in that car." And finally, the guy came to the truth. So take those 2 images. This just happened. This is what we're dealing with here is just the complete, and that's why we have to inform ourselves and how we have to behave moving forward. Is that we now know there are two Americas. There's one white, there's one black, there's one rich, there's one poor, and separate and unequal. And this is the way they intended it. And so we must move forward based upon that. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I just wanted to bring up those two examples. It's real startling. Yes, it's real startling to see. It's real startling to see how we are treated. I saw it just last month where a grandmother couldn't even cross the street. She refused to cross the street, and the police officer unholstered his weapon and pointed it at, she must have been 75, 80 years old, and he pointed it at her like he was going to shoot her, like she was some threat. And then you take that image of this state police officer walking up to a truck at night with a man he knows has a weapon in his car, and you are not afraid, and you treat him like a buddy. So that's the reality of America.
And I don't know about other states, but in Minnesota, we have mental health workers they can call when someone's having a breakdown to de-escalate the situation. So police officer in Minnesota can call, be like, hey, someone's having a breakdown, to come sit down. Luckily, that therapist just happened to be in her car and drove by and got out. So they're missing whole steps. They just see, and that's why it goes from zero to black. What happened to de-escalating the situation? What happens to calling the mental health workers to help in these situations? Here's a message, white people. Black people are tired. We have trauma and we have mental breakdowns. We have PSTD. We have these things. PTSD, yes. Sorry, I said it wrong. But we have these things. Sorry, I was like, but you know what I mean? We have a moment we have moments. We are tired. That is trauma living with us generationally. It's like, we have the same issues as white people. Like, we have the same issues. We have mental breakdowns every day. We have times we want to lay in our bed and just cry. We want to take a pill, but we can't. We got to get up, go to work, and do what we got to do. So give us space to be able to do that, please. Stop killing us. If you don't understand your job, then quit. Don't be a police officer, because you're not in the right job. Because when you signed up, it was not to shoot everyone black.
Yeah.
Facebook is going in. They are upset over the shooting. I think people are just now waking up and hearing that another teen was shot and killed.
Right.
This time, a black female teenager was shot and killed.
4 times.
And,
4. 15 years old. And she called the police to help her.
Stop calling the police, y'all. They're not here to help. And to that point, y'all, stop acting up. Y'all know right from wrong. Stop acting up. Stop. What you fighting over? Probably some social media stuff. Stop acting up. Stop trying to be tough. Stop going to people's houses and trying to beat them up and fighting all of this and that. And then men at the same. Stop standing around. Why y'all standing around?
Thank you.
Men, after the fact that she got shot, and then you want to tell a police officer that she's a kid. I get it, but before they got there, couldn't you? Hindsight is always 20/20, and I'm not condemning him for his actions, but as a family, as a community, we need to start acting like it. Let's de-escalate these situations, that we call in other people who have no idea of what our community is about, who have no idea of how to relate to us, and the only thing that they see is shoot to kill. The only thing that they see is shoot to kill. Stop calling the police, and y'all stop.
And we have to, we have to understand that that police officers, law enforcement officials, are agents of the state, and they are here to protect. They are here to serve the aristocrats, Caucasian aristocrats. They are here to serve and to protect their interests. They protect them and serve them. They patrol and control us. That is the difference. And if we can, the faster we can understand that this is just a play out, I'm going to bring that article the next time I come on, probably tomorrow, about how police departments are, just basically an evolutionary organization from slave breakers and slave catchers. So when you left and you got away from they went to catch you and bring you back. You know what I'm saying? They're like the precursor to the U.S. Marshals. They find you, they bring you back, and then they break you. And so what I saw yesterday, what I saw on Memorial Day 2020 was Derek Chauvin being a slave breaker. This is what the slave breakers were famous back in the day, because they would do some of the most heinous and hideous things to get the black people in line, to get the slaves in line. So, for example, they would hold a pregnant woman who was very pregnant upside down, and they would cut open her stomach, let the baby fall out, and stomp on the baby's head and kill her to traumatize the slaves into being obedient. This is a slave breaker. What I saw on Memorial Day 2020 on 38th in Chicago and Minneapolis was slave breaking. They were trying to get us in line. See, that's their job. Law enforcement's job is to keep us in line and to protect the interests of the Caucasian aristocrats. So the faster we can understand, like Portia said, that they're not really here to protect us, the faster we can handle ourselves accordingly.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it's time
All
for,
right, y'all.
positive thoughts.
I gotta take off. It has been it's been a morning.
Just give us a positive thought, girl. It's
it's the end of the show.
I know it's always positive our time, but this is healing space for us to get this out. So I think those are I know we talked about deep stuff, but I think we all need to give ourselves grace during this time. Take some time out of your day, everyone, to just sit and breathe. Inhale the positive, exhale the negative. Write down your thoughts. Take a walk. Call a friend. And just understand that you are loved and your skin tone is not a weapon.
My name is John Burke, and with me today.
Oh, it's okay. That's my time.
That last part.
I said your skin tone is not a weapon. Your skin tone is beautiful, and love yourself, and Black people are loved. And as always, have a great day. Everyone is winning. Keep winning. And I will see y'all next week. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Rolling Out. This has been a great day. Thank you to Shara for sharing her space and your story with us. Woo. All right. Thank you, y'all.
Okay. Pass the ball.
All right.
Who you passing the ball to? Okay, I'll go. Positive thoughts. I'm still in my dream series. These are great. Y'all see I have 30 of them. We haven't quite got to 30 yet. This is a new one. I'm gonna pop it open and let's see what it entails. So today's positive thought is brought to us by Armand Hammer, and it says, just think of something that everyone agrees would be wonderful if it were only possible, and then set out to make it possible. So once again, think of something that everyone can agree on that would be wonderful if it were possible, quote unquote, and then set out to make it possible. Let's go make the impossible possible, y'all. Let's go make the wonderful possible. I'm passing the ball over to First King James.
Yeah, I think that we can turn what happened yesterday into something remarkable and powerful if we just really take advantage of the moment, because we won yesterday in the accountability department, and it can lead to justice. So what we need to do is to figure out how we can capture and leverage this moment moving forward, using it as something positive to create lasting change for us and future generations. So what one thing that we can do, because you know that this is never going to go away, and you know this is not going to stop. We just showed you in Columbus, Ohio, that it didn't stop. With the teenage girl that got shot by the police on the same day that the verdict came down. So this is not going to stop. Dante Wright was shot during the trial. So what one way we can use yesterday's monumental event as a positive, leveraging it in a positive way that we can move forward into the future. That's my positive thought of the day. Thank you. I'm the First King James. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for putting up with Portia. We promise to get her together for tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in.
I appreciate y'all. We elevating higher. We vibrating higher today. It is Wednesday, April 21st. It's Winning Wednesdays. We gonna win today. We did have a victory yesterday, but we still have to continue with the war, guys. Let's keep it moving. Let's not release the pressure. Let's apply pressure. Let's continue to be in the movement and to be about change. Y'all have a great day. Have a great day. We're not letting up. We're not taking our foot off the gas. We're definitely applying pressure harder. And y'all have a great day. We love y'all. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. We appreciate y'all. Hey, Nana, girl. Hey, Gray. Kathleen. Hey, girl. Hey, B. Shields. Have a great day, girl. And I'm glad you gathered that guy. I don't know what was going on. I was trying to follow pay attention at the same time, but something happened, y'all. D, I saw you gather them, though. I saw you got them right together. D.
What did she say?
She just gathered them, like, real quick. So, y'all, Iris, James, William Thomas Norris Jr. in the building. Everybody else, we love y'all. I said amen, didn't I? Say amen, hey, Gray. Bobby Booker, Robert. We'll see you tomorrow. The good Shropshire. We'll see you tomorrow.